In the thriving metropolis of New York City, Richard Grayson was a name that commanded respect and fear. As the CEO of Grayson Capital, a powerful private equity firm, Richard had built an empire from the ground up. He was the classic self-made man, rising from a modest background to become one of the wealthiest and most influential figures on Wall Street. With a penthouse overlooking Central Park, a collection of luxury cars, and a roster of high-profile clients, Richard appeared to have it all. But Richard's success came at a cost, mostly borne by others. Known for his cutthroat tactics, he had a reputation for being ruthless in his pursuit of profit. He thrived on taking over struggling companies, restructuring them to squeeze out every last bit of value, and then flipping them for a hefty profit. For Richard, business was a game, and winning meant everything. One of Richard's most notorious deals was with an upstate New York company called Sterling Textiles, a family-owned business that had been around for nearly a century. Sterling was struggling, hit hard by the decline in American manufacturing and mounting debts. The company was the lifeblood of a small town, providing jobs and stability to generations of families. Seeing an opportunity, Richard swooped in with an offer. He convinced the Sterling family that he could save their company, promising to preserve jobs and keep the factory running. Desperate and out of options, they reluctantly agreed to sell. But Richard had no intention of keeping his promises. As soon as the ink was dry, he shut down the factory, laid off the workers, and sold off the assets. The town was devastated, and the Sterlings were left with nothing. What Richard didn't know was that karma was waiting just around the corner. One of the laid-off workers from Sterling Textiles, a man named Tom Bennett, had a daughter named Emily who had just graduated from law school. Emily had always been passionate about justice, and when she saw what Richard had done to her hometown, she made it her mission to bring him down. Emily joined a law firm specializing in corporate litigation and began digging into Grayson Capital's dealings. She discovered a pattern of behavior that went beyond unethical. It was illegal. Richard had engaged in insider trading, manipulated stock prices, and made shady deals with government officials to cover up his tracks. Emily was relentless in her pursuit, compiling a mountain of evidence against Richard. Meanwhile, Richard's personal life was unraveling. His wife, tired of his obsession with work and his growing arrogance, left him. His teenage son, who had idolized him, began to see his father for who he truly was, a man willing to destroy others for his own gain. Even Richard's business began to suffer as his ruthless reputation made it harder to attract new clients. Investors started to pull out, wary of getting caught up in any potential scandals. Things came to a head when Emily, armed with her evidence, approached the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. The SEC launched a full-scale investigation into Grayson Capital, and it wasn't long before the truth started to come out. Richard's carefully constructed empire began to crumble as the investigation revealed the extent of his illegal activities. The media pounced on the story, turning Richard into the villain of the hour. As the investigation progressed, Richard's former allies turned against him, eager to save themselves. His closest confidants testified against him, revealing the dirty secrets of Grayson Capital. Richard was charged with multiple counts of securities fraud, insider trading, and conspiracy. The once powerful CEO was now a disgraced figure, facing the very real possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. In court, Emily watched as Richard was brought to justice. The trial was a media sensation, with every detail of Richard's fall from grace splashed across the headlines. The judge showed no mercy, sentencing Richard to a lengthy prison term and ordering him to pay millions in restitution to the victims of his schemes. Richard Grayson, who had once been at the top of the world, was now just another inmate in a federal penitentiary. His fortune was gone, his family estranged, and his reputation in tatters. He spent his days reflecting on the choices that had led him there, but it was too late to undo the damage he had caused. Emily, on the other hand, became a rising star in the legal world. Her success in bringing down Richard Grayson made her a hero to many, and she used her newfound influence to advocate for stricter regulations on corporate practices. She never forgot where she came from, and she continued to fight for justice, ensuring that what happened to her hometown would never happen again. In the end, Richard's story became a cautionary tale, proof that no matter how high you rise, the fall can be even greater if you lose sight of what's truly important. And in the small town that Richard had once destroyed, life slowly began to rebuild, thanks in part to the efforts of people like Emily Bennett, who refused to let injustice stand.